Hey everybody, I want to talk to you a little bit more about the technology learning cycle. By now, you've probably read the first page handout and you've probably gone on to read the base article that supports that one-page handout. But I want to talk to you a little bit more about each of the 5 parts of the technology learning cycle and then add a little extra to the end. So you know the first part is awareness. Awareness is that point where you actually become aware that technology can meet a need that you have. Now there's 2 parts to that. 1, you have to have the need. There has to be something that you want to accomplish. And 2, you have to be aware that technology can meet that need. Sometimes we learn this awareness by seeing other people doing cool things. We hear about other teachers learning new technologies and applying it in their classroom, and that's where the awareness comes. Sometimes, like in our class, that awareness is going to come to you through me. I'm going to tell you about a need that you probably have and a tool that you can use to meet that need. There are many different ways to become aware. We just have to be aware of our surroundings and the people using technology in really creative ways. Once we become aware of the need and how technology can meet that need, we then go through a process of exploration and filtration. All that means is you know that there are multiple tools that can meet multiple things. You know that when you need to edit a photo, for example, there are 100 different applications that you can use to edit that photo. You just have to pick one. Through exploration and filtration, that's where you make that decision. Sometimes that decision is driven by money. I don't have any to spend, so I have to find a free tool to meet my need. Other times, that filtration and that choice making is driven by your school, because here's the product that they provide for you to use. You've never used it before, but since it's free and since it's on your school supplied computer, you might as well learn how to use it. That takes us to step 3, and that's the process of learning. We're going to divide this into 2 parts. The first part is, of course, the technical learning, just actually learning how to click, how to drag, what to do, where to go within the application to get the application to do what you want it to do. That's the technical learning side. Bunches of tools to do that, like LinkedIn Learning and YouTube videos and just a simple Google search to find the steps to do what you need to do. But then the other half of the learning process is the pedagogical approach. That is, now that I know this tool, how do I integrate it into my teaching? That's going to be a part of this course that you're going to reflect on a lot. I'm going to point you to the tool. I'm going to try and give you the resources to learn how to use it, and then it's up to you to think about, all right, how do I use this in a classroom? And sometimes that answer is going to be a bit elusive. You're not going to be able to come up with that answer right away, but as you get more and more experience with children, more and more experience with students, and more opportunities to practice teaching, you're going to then think back to this course and go, oh, I remember this tool, and now I see how I can use it in my classroom. So there's technical learning, how to make the application do what you want it to do, and pedagogical learning, how to take that tool and incorporate it into your teaching. The 4th step then is personal and professional application. All the things that I'm going to show you in this course, I hope you'll be able to use in your classroom. But the other part of this is the tools that I show you to use, I hope you adopt them for things in your personal life. For example, I'm going to show you or point you the way on how to make digital videos, just like I'm doing right now. I happen to be using an iPad, I happen to be standing in a room in my house, and I've got a little bit of light to make sure that you can see and that I get a decent quality video. And I'm making this video for my class. But think about ways that I might make a video in my personal life. Maybe my wife and I want to share a Christmas message or a holiday message to our friends and family, so we record a video to do that. That's what step 5 is all about. Professional application. Sure, you as a teacher need to use this, but do you find ways to use this in your personal life? And in many cases, when students come back to me and say, hey, I made this photo album, I did this thing that you taught us in class, I did this for something in my personal life, that's a really great compliment for me. Number 5 then is sharing and reflection. Sure, you've gone through the whole process. You've found a tool, you've learned how to use it, you've created something with it, but now you share the results of that learning. You share the products that come from the new technology that you've learned. And then you reflect on that process. What did I like about learning? What did I like about this tool? What would I do better with this tool? What do I need a different tool? Even though I've gone through the whole process, do I need a different tool? Because this didn't exactly get done what I needed the tool to do. So there's sharing and reflection, and that completes the cycle. But now here's the important extra added part. You'll note that when you read the one-page handout, the technology learning cycle was presented to you very flat. It was very one-dimensional, as if the circle began and you just came back to the circle, like starting at 12 o'clock on the face of a clock and getting back to 12 o'clock. Except that the technology learning cycle is not one-dimensional. It's actually three-dimensional. So imagine that we establish a point. I'm going to try and get it here where you can see it. Imagine that we establish a point where you begin this cycle. And so now here you're aware, and you start this exploration and filtration. My finger's going to go in a circle here. You start this exploration and filtration. You do the learning, pedagogical and technical learning. You do the personal and professional application, and then you share and reflect, and you get back to the top. Only, and this is important, you're not back at the same place. You've made forward progress. And the reason that's important is that you learned things. You learned skills, you learned ideas, you learned pedagogy, you learned technical skills throughout this process, so that when you begin this process again, when you become aware of another need, or you become aware of some other tools, you're not in the same place. You're a better technology learner. You're a better technology integrator into your classroom. So you're not back at the same spot. You've moved ahead, and you have new skills, new ideas. You're a better technology using teacher this time around, so that when you start the process again, sure thing, you're going to go in that same circle, only when you come back to the end, you're going to be again farther down the road. So this isn't a start at 12 o'clock, come back to 12 o'clock. It's start at 12 o'clock, but you progress forward, and it's a different 12 o'clock that you arrive at when you start the process again. So that's the technology learning cycle. Awareness, exploration and filtration, learning, personal and professional application, and finally, sharing and reflection. I try to point that out throughout the entire course. You'll see it over and over again. TLC, and then A for awareness, E and F for exploration and filtration, P and P for personal, professional application, S and R for sharing and reflection. I try to point that out to you each time you use it. Sometimes I skip awareness because that's just kind of assumed because I've just made you aware of this tool. But I try to point it out to you so that you're familiar with how you're applying the technology learning cycle throughout EDUC 235. Thanks for watching.